The South African Carp Classic Qualifier 2020 is a 6-day carp fishing event, hosting 23 teams, all competing for the #1 spot, and the prize of winning the chance to represent South Africa in the 2021 World Carp Classic. In this film, we share our experience and tactics as Team Carp Angler. After getting camp set up on the Saturday evening, we waited for the next morning to get the boat and the rods ready for the 9 AM start. Once the hooter sounded the start of the competition, the first priority was to get out on the boat and find the best area in our swim to target for the week's fishing.
Well, that's it. We have just finished our feeding. What we've done, we made a rectangle. The rectangle is spread across water from 7.5 meters to 9.5 meters. It is fairly hard down the slope and getting softer towards that. What we've done is we spread the feed in quite a large area. We want the fish to come into a fairly large area, not everything on top of each other. So it's spread. That rectangle is about 40 meters by 20 meters. In the center and towards the left we have fed particles, and towards the right we have fed high nutritional value boilies and pellets. We've isolated that to a strip of 20 meters long by about 5 to 10 meters wide. So we've got two separate areas to feed, or actually to fish.
Catch a monster.
The day passed without any action. However, it was to be expected with the amount of bait we put out, as the plan was to feed quite a lot, and when the fish come into the area we will be able to hold them there for a longer period of time. That night the rods had to be moved back as massive winds were creating such big waves that the rods were getting knocked off the backrests. The remainder of the storm clouds made for a beautiful sunrise. As the sun poked its head out of the clouds, we managed to get our first weighing fish. So well, there we go, my first fish of the session, and the first one for the peg, making the weight just by, what, 7 grams?
75 grams.
75 grams, so that's just, but at least our first fish, so they are coming into the swim. It's starting now, yeah. So I'm pretty sure we will start to pick them off as the days go on now.
Well done, Steve.
Thank you, man.
Good job.
There we go, fish back released, rods back in the water, so now there's all the chance of another one. So I'm a quick catch a big one, and hopefully we can get up the leaderboard. Unfortunately, after that fish we didn't have any more bites for the day. So after a few hours we decided to put in some fresh feed to hopefully get a feeding response.
It's Tuesday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning now, just past 2 o'clock, and this is our third day of the World Carp Classic SA qualifier. We only have one weigh fish at the moment, just over 9 kilogram. In total we've put out about 175 liters of bait, ground feed, particle bait, as well as boilies and pellets. And that might sound like a crazy amount of bait for the amount of fish that we've caught, but the water that we're fishing, if you take into consideration, it never gets fished, so there's no real reasons for the fish to be here. So we have to give them a reason to be here. We're going all out. We're trying to draw the fish in. We've got a nice big bed of bait, and when I say big, I mean the size of even larger than a tennis court. So we're trying to spread the bait on a massive area, and then as the fish start moving in, we'll close that area down a bit. Although we've learned by now that the bottom is quite soft and we might have to make a few adjustments to rigs, but before we do those adjustments, we just wanted to try maybe fish a little bit closer up the shelf, where the bottom is a bit harder. So for now, on the right hand rod, we're fishing a boilie approach. So we're fishing with a 20mm wafter, one of these Horizon wafters, and it's sitting beautifully, just hovering above the hook, so it's presenting nicely, and we think that this is definitely standing out from the rest of the bait that's laying on the bottom, and hopefully it's like the cherry on the cake when the fish start moving in. So hopefully they'll pick up those baits. On the other rods, we're actually fishing our go-to method, which is, that's a bit glugged now, but when that glug washes away, that's actually a neutral buoyancy tiger nut, drilled out in the middle, plugged with orange foam, just coated in a bit of citrus or outrageous orange goo, and that usually is the go-to bait here at Redekoppies Dam, in conjunction with the loops and booms setup. Means that the bait's always kicking away from the lead system, and then as the fish start moving in, if we start, hopefully we start getting some more action now as we go into the 3rd and the 4th day, and then we'll start playing around a bit more with different hook baits and try and see if we can't pick out some of the better fish by switching to different hook baits. But for now, we're just going with the go-to methods, trying to get bites. I think we've done a lot of hard work now, and hopefully, you know, the saying goes, when you put in the hard work at the start, if you put in the effort, then you reap the rewards later. We just had a bite after we fed last night at midnight. We went out and we put out all that bait, and so this morning it was actually quite quiet, which was a bit worrying. Nothing we can really do about it. The bait's in the water, we need the fish to respond, we need the fish to react, and we just had a bite. Unfortunately we missed it, but I don't think it's anything that we have done wrong. Obviously I would think that because I'm an angler, but personally I really do believe that it's just a case of the fish aren't feeding hard yet. They've discovered the bait now, obviously, because we've had that bite, which means if there's one, there must be more. So hopefully that will entice more fish to feed, and the harder they feed, the better the hook holds will become. So I think now it's just a case of sitting on our hands and letting it play out by itself. We're not going to force anything from here. We're not going to put in any more bait. What we've just done is we re-dropped that rod and we put only one scoop, little small scoop just over the top. No more mass baiting or anything like that. We want the fish to come in now and settle on the bait, and that way we'll definitely get positive bites and hopefully start bagging some carp. So it's not even 10 minutes after we made that video of that fish that we just lost, and we had our first proper reel run, which is testament that the fish are really starting to feed now. So from here onwards, hopefully we'll get more of this. This is what we need. this beautiful mirror, 8.5 kilogram. Unfortunately it won't count for the competition as it's below 9 kilogram. You can't be unhappy with a beautiful carp like this. I mean, just look at the colors and the scale pattern. Look how orange it is. So still a privilege to catch them, but this one will go back without being on the scoreboard. Maybe next year.
So let me just show you how you shower when there's no facilities. Yes, Africa is tough, eh? That night we completed another routine feeding at 1 AM in the morning. And finally, on the Wednesday, we had a very productive day's fishing.
That's a proper. Just came back out, we netted this fish, it's in the sling, and our other teammate handed us a hook link so that we could just re-drop the bait as we go into the water. But the hook link never had a sleeve on, so although this is a quick change swirl that's quite tight, you know, you still need the assurance that it's never going to come off. So I had to just make a bit of a plan, so I've just covered it up with some putty, but there's no way that it can come off now, especially when a fish is attached to this side and it's tight, so there's no way it can come off. I haven't even put the back lid on. We literally just got back from dropping this rod after catching about a fish of 7 kilos, and it's straight on again. This is on that hinge stiff rig of mine, with quite a big bait. We were just talking about it, myself and Stefan, that it can be a good big fish rig, but it can also be a rig that picks out the smaller fish. As the bait's so prominent, the small fish picks it up first. But this is a good run. Let's get on that boat and go and get this fish. Hopefully this is a whale. The fish have started biting like crazy. The moment we've been waiting for. The past couple of hours has been hectic action, non-stop. Rods are in the water, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then they're off. They're not big fish, all of them. Most of them are small fish, but that means the fish are actively feeding on our spot now, which is what we wanted, because they stir up the bottom and then they create a feeding frenzy. So now it's up to us to try and fish for the bigger fish in between and work through the smaller fish, and hopefully we can land some of the bigger ones. There was a time that we've actually ran out of hook baits. That's how fast the action was. So we've just made a whole tub full of hook links with hook baits, a variety of hook baits that we're fishing, rigs and stuff. We're fishing anything from hinge stiff rigs, spinner rigs with single pop-up, spinner rigs with tigers, balanced tigers, stuff like that. So we'll try and work out what's best. For now we need to cook some more bait. We need to get back on that spot. We need to get the bait back in now to keep the fish the heads down, and hopefully the runs will keep on happening.
Neville and Stefan is just on the boat with the fish, so it's a double up. They were just out there busy landing it, and then another one took off.
Sling in die boot, net in die boot. Okay, ons het nou 4 buite in die laaste 5 minute.
Okay, now it's chaos. We just landed the fish, we just upgraded. I got one on, they were still busy weighing. Stefan got one on, so now we're 2 up, and the other one just went as well. So now the cameraman must go and get it as well. Stefan with the fish, Neville with the fish, and I'm with the fish on the boat. Okay guys, well that's a 3 up. We've been very worried that the fish aren't coming into our swim with the amount of feed that we've been putting in, and we've gradually upgraded. We've just crossed the 30 kilogram mark, so we are over 10 kilo average.
Slowly but surely getting
Slowly
there.
but surely. So now the next one, we need to hit the 11.
Yes, let's go for it.
Okay. Thank you to all the guys, Essential Angling, Invoke and Psycho, for making sure that we've got good quality baits on the peg.
Just caught this fish, unfortunately too small, 8.5 kilogram, but he's revealed in the sling here that they are definitely munching the bait. There's tiger nuts, hemp seed, maize coming out of him. He's passing it through. That means all the fizzing that we're seeing back there means the fish are feeding on our bait, which is fantastic. That's what we need. So hopefully in between these smaller ones, we just need a bit of luck for that big one. Thank you.
With the competition almost ending, this was our last day to try and pull it out of the bag. And with the results of the previous day, we really were expecting some good results.
Well, we wanted to show a nice photo on the video, or a nice fish on the video, but we just took a photo and then the fish jumped out and it was sped off in the shallows. But we had quite a massive storm from about 5 o'clock this morning. It wasn't easy. We were worried about the lines that were out since last night, and we were contemplating to go and change them. We had some theories that they have been washed and they're not on the spot anymore, and we just left them for a while just for the storm to subside, and 2 of them ran. We had two runs, 2 fish, about a 9.5 and a 10.07 or something, 02. It was just below upgrade. So now all the lines are in again. It looks like the weather is getting a little bit better, and hopefully we are in for a better morning, or a reasonable morning. We have fed during the night, but earlier, so it is a bit quieter than what we've expected it to be. So now I think it is time for plan B. Don't know what plan B is.
Coffee.
Coffee and
Coffee
must.
sounds good. This day did not end up being as productive as we had hoped. We did land a couple of fish, however they were all very small and we weren't able to upgrade any of our catches. So most of the day was spent trying to figure out some winning tactic. Oh, and we also cleaned up some ice.
Okay, so the rain has been predicted for this morning, well actually throughout the whole week, but it hasn't been very consistent. But last night we had a prediction that rain would come a certain time, and it did, and it was all fine. But the water level started rising quite rapidly, and we are about 2 meters away from the water at the moment, where we were 10 meters away at the start of the session. And this time another prediction came through of massive hail and lightning storms coming through, and that one came true as well. So now we are busy hiding in the cars, all of us. Neville is there in his own car, and we are just waiting for the storm to pass. Got the rods out, everything is out of the water, not to take any chances with the lightning and the hail. So we're just waiting for everything to pass. The storm does seem to have calmed down a bit at least, and once everything is passed, then maybe we can look to get a few more lines out. But for now it's much better to be safe than sorry, and rather just stay in the car and be safe.
Friday morning we were once again greeted by a beautiful sunrise.
Friday morning, and I think it is just in time because we are almost in the water. Water's edge is just here on our bivvies. So another night and it would have been a waterbed.
And just like that, the 2020 World Carp Classic South African qualifier was over. It was time to pack up and go and congratulate the winners. Can't wait for the next one. Hopefully we will end up a little bit higher on the leaderboard.